right, I'm going to walk you through a framework for communication that's going to be super valuable for navigating conflict, but really just any kind of communication to help you feel more understood, to help you receive others with more empathy, and to help express ourselves honestly. And nonviolent communication is the framework. And so I'll walk you through the framework and I'll use examples for what the dialogue might look like. So the first thing that you're going to want to do in nonviolent communication is observation. So this is not evaluation. This is what we see or hear from the situation, just facts. So that might look like you arrived 15 minutes late after our scheduled time, instead of saying something like, you're always late, right? So just the fact of you arrived 15 minutes late after our scheduled time. This could be with your romantic partner, a friend, business acquaintance, all right? And that is going to avoid defensiveness or triggering the other person as opposed to sharing something out of blame, right? Like, you're always late. Then we want to move on to feelings, right? How does this feel within us? And a valuable tool for understanding our feelings, because that in itself is a practice that's maybe not the easiest for people to do, is to search the feeling wheel. So you'll find this wheel that's been used in psychology for years, and it has these basic feelings: angry, mad, sad, and a few more, but then it breaks it down into 3 different layers so you can get specific as to exactly how you're feeling. And then the way you want to communicate that is in the situation of someone being late is, I feel frustrated and unimportant when you're late, instead of something like, I feel like you don't care, which is also valid. But if you can get a little bit, that's a little bit more blaming, instead of identifying exactly how you feel within, and it's going to be more productive to the conversation, because that's exactly what we want here. We want to feel understood and we want to be productive. We're on the same team as this person that we're communicating with, and that is going to help it land a lot better. The next thing is you want to identify your need. We all have needs. It's super human, foundational to us. And we want to identify what is our need behind this emotion. And, an example would be, I feel frustrated because I need reliability and mutual respect, to go with this time situation we were talking about. So it's understanding our feelings, and then what do we need in order to not feel that way, to not feel unimportant, to not feel that person doesn't respect you. It's like, I need to know that you hear me and that you're reliable. That can be, another layer to that feeling. And then we have a request, and we want our requests to be clear and actionable. And that would look something like, would you be willing to text me if you're running late next time? That is a clear and actionable request that's going to help us with the negative feelings we are having, and make this something that is doable, and it's not like a threat, right? Like, we want to make it clear and actionable, and out of a place of love and empathy, because that, again, is really what we are trying to get to at the end with our communication. So remember, it's observation, feeling, need, and requests. And the more you do this, the easier it'll be. And don't be afraid, even if you need to have notes in front of you like I do now, to have this conversation with your partner, with a friend, have the notes. But this framework is going to make the conversation mutually beneficial, that the person is going to know what it is that you are communicating in a clear way, and then they're going to know a clear action that they can do to help you relate better. Put this to work, and let us know in the comments how this is working for you, or if you have any questions. And yeah, excited to hear how it goes for you.